They say in retirement, you have your go-go years, you have your slow-go years, you have your no-go years. It's just understanding that life is a journey and that at first, your go-go years, you're going to spend that time, your best retirement years, doing all the bucket list stuff. Then things slow down. Maybe you don't want to go on airplanes anymore, or you like being closer to home. It just happens as part of the natural aging process. And the no-go years is maybe when you need some assistance just getting through everyday life. It's part of the journey, right? But how much time are you going to have in each one of those three categories? It's Saturday State of Mind. Today, we're going to talk about health and how for a lot of people, it's one of the more undiscovered twilight zone areas of their financial plan, in that a lot of times people don't discuss it. They don't like discussing it, or even if they think to discuss or plan for it, they don't even know where to start. So for this conversation, Jess, where should we begin?
Well, I like to begin that a lot of live speaking events that we do, a common question that you like to throw out, Mike, I know, to the audience is, what is your most valuable asset?
Yeah, sure.
And you get people every now and then say, my house,
My
or
401k.
my pension.
Yeah.
And then everybody wants to beat up that person that has a pension because they don't have pensions. But there's, I think more and more there are some smarties in the audience that will say either, my health or time. And those two are kind of related, because if you don't have good health, you probably don't have a whole heck of a lot of time.
Yeah, I hear health a lot, and it's not to say that's inaccurate, but technically speaking, it's time that's your greatest asset, because you can be in perfect health and be hit by a car that's coming around the corner and you don't see it, right?
Sure. Alternatively, you could have a lot of time left, but, maybe not be of great
Not
health.
the best time.
So, yeah, what's the next 20 years looking like?
I like to remark that with time, it's the one asset that you can't ever purchase any more of, not directly. And it's also an asset you can't check the balance of. Right?
There was that sci-fi movie with Justin Timberlake. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Correct. That's called In Time.
Great flick if you guys want to watch out. But how often are these conversations happening with financial advisors? Do you think, obviously we talk about it, it's one of our 5 worlds we talk about here with financial planning is your health and healthcare planning, and what health looks like in retirement and why that's important?
It's not discussed a lot.
No.
At all.
But wouldn't you argue that's one of the most important things of retirement?
I think we just both agree that it's probably the most important thing, right? Time is your most valuable asset. If you believe that, then how you spend your time matters. And we can't get all existential about this and worry about the car that might or might not be coming for us around the corner. By the way, if that car is coming for you, there's not a lot you can do about it. Look both ways, of course, right? But there is something that you can more so proactively do, which is to try to take care of yourself as much as possible. Generally, when people are looking into retirement planning issues, they're looking into, how can I invest? How can I put something aside today that tomorrow is going to become more valuable, right? And all of that ultimately boils down to a sacrifice. You could spend that dollar right now. You could go out and buy yourself a drink or a pack of gum, whatever you want to spend that dough on. But instead you said, nope, my future self might want this money. So you put it aside in your Roth, into Bitcoin, into your 401k, right? Whatever. And that's part of planning, right? To sacrifice today so you can enjoy something more, hopefully bigger and better tomorrow. Well, similarly, right? One of the things that we could start by thinking about or doing is investing in our health. Just Americans aren't really good at this at all, right? I think a lot of people are aware now that for the first time in decades, life expectancy in this country has at best flatlined, and at worst, it might actually be going down. We've never been more unhealthy.
I don't know why that's happening now. I'd love to talk about that, but I'm actually reminded. I just had lunch with my uncle the other day, and he was talking about he's in retirement and he joined Planet Fitness, and he goes there like 3 days a week. It's great. It's on his calendar. Keeps him busy. Keeps him active.
Good for Uncle Steve.
Meets some people out there. Shout out Uncle Steve. But we were talking about his dad, my grandpa. My grandpa, unfortunately died in his early 60s. He was a big drinker, smoker, come home from the track, had one of those big beer bellies, and he was in the war and, very, very active guy. But when he came home, health wasn't really a priority. And I said, what do you think, if Grandpa knew you were going to the gym, what he would say? And he'd be like, oh, some choice words for him, but it just wasn't a focus back in that generation.
Hey, in Grandpa's defense, there probably weren't gyms.
No, it wasn't really a thing. Also, Grandpa did die at 64. Now, not all grandpas did. Yours made it to 99. So that's pretty cool. But he was working out.
Yeah. Yes, he was.
So that's super important, is focusing on the health.
What difference does it make how much money you have if, first of all, you don't live long enough to enjoy it? Or even worse, if you live, but you're not living well, you want to take a wild stab if you're unhealthy, what you're going to spend most of your retirement savings on?
Doctors,
Healthcare,
healthcare,
right?
prescription pills,
medicine and surgeries and all these terrible things, right?
Probably not a gym membership, though. You know, a lot of health insurances will reimburse you for the cost of gym membership or workout programs, namely for that, because they don't have to pay as much statistically if you're using that gym membership there.
Right. So I think some of this is a bit of a paradigm shift for people. They have to expand their horizons. Wellness isn't just measured financially. How much money do I have and is it enough? Well, are we going to be living well enough to enjoy it? Do we have health wellness? Are we investing in ourselves? Are we eating well? Are we sleeping well? Are we exercising enough? You know, what's wild about a lot of what it is that we do and a lot of what's true about what we're discussing here is that the basics for how to be successful, it's really not all that complicated, right? So like with money, live within your means. Stay away from debt if you can. Make prudent investments. Be diversified. Pay attention to taxes, right? You've seen all this, especially if you're working with us or somebody that's close to you, you've been doing your own planning. These tenets are pretty easy. With health, it's similar, right? There's bad genes and genetics and accidents, right? But putting all that aside, it's sleep, it's diet, it's exercise. So what we try to opine for a lot of people is don't just pay attention to what the dollars are doing, paying attention to what you're doing every single day, because the better you treat yourself, the more Saturdays you'll be able to enjoy, and the more that you'll be able to enjoy the money doing the things that you actually want to spend the money on. Trips and hobbies and experiences, not waiting rooms and prescriptions and surgeries.
No, certainly not. And while, you know, yes, join a gym, you know, go on some walks around the neighborhood. We see the retired couple next door all the time, every day. I was like, do they do anything but walk up and down the street? But it's great way to get out there, get exercise. But, you know, mental health is also really important too. Like keep your noggin sharp.
I just read, and maybe we can link to it later, but something about a really long study having been done on Alzheimer's, which of course is becoming a bigger issue now with time. And they were looking at what are some of the more common traits for people who either don't ever get Alzheimer's, or if they do get it, it's less severe. And the one like common denominator they found for those people who had more success either avoiding this mental illness or dealing with it more lightly is that they were exercising.
They say that it's about like being active, something I'm no expert, but like the plaque that builds up in the brain and everything too. And that, yeah, so they say just simply by walking, like after dinner each night, like it's supposed to be great for cholesterol, metabolism, like so many health benefits I think you have. So you don't need a, you know, join Uncle Steve at Planet Fitness and be pumping iron, picking things up, putting it down, you know, 7 days a week. Just about, you know, being conscientious, I think, of your health.
They say in retirement, you have your go-go years, you have your slow-go years, you have your no-go years. It's just understanding that life is a journey and that at first, your go-go years, you're going to spend, especially with the time and the energy, the health that you have, you're going to spend that time, your best retirement years, doing all the bucket list stuff, seeing the sights, traveling, experiencing things, right? Then things slow down. Right? Maybe you don't want to go on airplanes anymore, or you like being closer to home, right? It just happens as part of the natural aging process. And the no-go years is maybe when you need some assistance just getting through everyday life. It's part of the journey, right?
Sure.
But how much time are you going to have in each one of those three categories? Unless you're mindful of your health, you'll spend more time in the slow-go or no-go categories. Our whole endeavor here is to try to prompt people as much as possible. When you're considering wellness, it's not just financial, it's health too, and making sure that we pay mind to that, we plan for it, we invest in our health so we can spend as much time as possible in our go-go years.
Yeah, some great advice. If this video was helpful, like and subscribe for more. We'll see you next time. If you liked this video and it helped you, watch another one, and don't forget to hit subscribe.